Hello friends, this is Holmes, a first-time farmer over 50. Welcome to the homestead. So working on another patch of silvopasture today. Previous video I showed several trees that I was going to begin cutting down. So in this area there were a total of 10 that I needed to take out, and today we accomplished removing 5 of them. So we're going to walk around and see what we accomplished. First thing that we did, and we're not going to count this one, is this trunk slash stump that was sticking up as the result of that tree falling over there, and it's caught up in that maple, but this was sticking up about maybe 5 or 6 feet, so we cut that cut off. So that's down and done. And then we came over here right underneath this big hickory tree that is leaning in 2 big red oak trees. There were several smaller trees beneath them, or beneath it, and the 5 stumps that you see, so we have 2 right there, and then 1 there, 1 there, and then that one over there. So there were 4 maples and 1 cherry, that being the cherry there. So the first one that I took down was that one there, and I thought that it would probably be the easiest, and it would fall right over in that general direction. It was not. It actually turned out to be the hardest. It kept catching up in that red oak right there, and I cut it the first time and it just stood up and leaned there, so I cut a section off the bottom. It continued to stand up and continued to lean, so it took 4 more cuts before I finally got it to drop, and it did drop in that general direction. I was able to get in there and cut it up, and you can see the big piles of brush over there, the result of all of the trees that we cut down. But that's where that one ended up. And we got that pile of logs over there are from that tree. Then the second one that I came to was this one over here. This one I was very concerned with getting caught up in these 2 trees right in here. And what I wanted was for it to fall directly through there. So I cut into it, and it started to lean, started to fall, but then got caught up. So I cut a little bit more on it, and then the weight of it took it down. So that landed, it was a perfect shot. I mean, right through there, exactly where I wanted it to go. So that worked out well, got it all cleaned up in those 2 piles. And then we started piles of logs through here. Now it's more than just 1 tree there. That's part of it is from this one. Then the next one that I went to was this one here. And this one also gave me great pause because it, standing right here, went straight up into those limbs of that hickory tree. And I was not sure how much it was caught up in it, and was very concerned that it would be standing, and I would have to continue to cut on it. So my goal was for it to fall straight through there. Then my other concern was the cherry tree, because it was leaning and it had been caught up in the limbs as well. So I wasn't sure if this thing what would happen, if it would be stuck in the branches or what. So I started cutting it, and it started to lean, and then it stopped. So I cut on a little bit more, and then it fell, and it went right through there. The only casualty was our property line marker from 1973. It got hit. It was already bent over, so it was going to have to be straightened out anyway, but it got hit again. So that's it there. So we'll get around to straightening him out one of these days. But when this one fell, it took the cherry tree with it, at least part of it. You may remember from the previous video that cherry tree was splintered about maybe, I don't know, 12, 15 feet up from when this tree hit it. And when this one fell, then the cherry snapped off right at that break and went down with it. So I almost got a twofer. It was more like a 1 2/3 fir, so that worked out well. I had a lot to clean up. This was a big tree, lots of upper branches, so it took quite some time to get through all of that. And quite a few of these, well, all of these logs here are from that tree. And then a few of those are, and a few of those are as well. And then those two piles over there contain most of the upper branches. And then after the top of the cherry tree came down, then I went ahead and cut the bottom part, which was about 12 feet tall or so. I don't know, maybe a little bit taller, but those are some of the branches, and that's most of the trunk. And you can see how bad this trunk was. See the hole right through it. And there's part of the area that was splintered. And then you get down to the bottom here, and it was somewhat hollow at the base as well. So it was not going to be of this world much longer. So I'm glad we got that done. Don't have to worry about him anymore. Then the last one was this maple right here. And this maple was wedged up underneath the this big branch right here of the hickory tree. So the hickory was literally pushing it down, and I knew this was going to be under a lot of pressure, so I was kind of concerned about how this was going to work. Get out of my own shadow there. So I started cutting it, and as soon as I cut into it, maybe an inch into it, it started to pop. And I'm like, okay, well, this is definitely under a lot of stress. So I, after it started popping, then I went up a few feet on the trunk, cut a little notch in it there. That relieved some of the pressure. Then I came back in, down at the bottom, started cutting that again, came in a couple more inches. It popped some more, cut some more at the near about 3 feet up, and then started in at the bottom again. And when I did that, that's when it fell. And then it did a nifty barber chair for me, and fell straight over there. So I went back, cut all the upper branches, started back on the trunk, and eventually it started to stand back up until it was maybe about 6 feet tall or so, and then it stood completely straight up. And then I just cut it down from there. So of all the trees that I cut down today, of the 5, the first one, the one that I thought would be the easiest, turned out to be the most difficult. And the one that I thought would be the most difficult turned out to be somewhat the easiest. So there you have it. Life of cutting down trees, creating silvopasture. So I'm glad all of these are done. Got quite a bit of wood, firewood there, so that's a good thing. And now we got to get started on these trees over here. So I've got 5 more to do in this small area. Not doing them today. My back has had it. So we're just going to call it a day and get back out here in a few days. So we appreciate you watching. Please hit like and subscribe and ring that bell. And we look forward to seeing you again in the future. But if not, we will see you in the pasture.